Here we go. Hey, everybody. How are you? Welcome to the Cabinet Maker Profit System podcast. This is just for woodshop owners like cabinet makers, architecture mill workers, and closet companies. Those of you out there in the world who are interested in the business of the woodshop business. Look, if you want to work smarter and not just harder, you're in the right place. Today's guest is going to be Phil Risher. We're going to talk about 5 ways to get 5-star Google reviews for your cabinet shop. And those are important. As a matter of fact, this whole episode's important and it's going to lead you back to that conclusion anyway. So I'll tell you why. Number one, we all look for social proof. You do, and I do. Social proof is why I keep asking you to leave a review for this podcast. Hint, hint. Number two, the easiest and most common social proof that people can find is to search for you and your shop online. And Google is the most popular search engine in the world. The next reason is that getting Google reviews, now good, bad, or indifferent, right? You can get good ones, bad ones, or indifferent ones. They are important to your business so that you show up as relevant. Every review counts as a point. And even if you get negative Google reviews, it still gives you an opportunity to respond with class. In the episode, I'm going to share the story of an extremely successful architectural mill worker who has no Google reviews and was recently questioned about this by a high-level drafting engineer he was trying to hire. You see, even your employees check your Google reviews. Now, that's what the episode's about. What's the podcast all about? It's about mindset, experts, and growth secrets. My goal here is to give you focus on the what and the how. And you, my friend, you have to bring the when. But when we put it in my court, what kind of experts do I go find? Well, I go find you people who are doing it, not just talking about it. I hate theory. I don't have any time for it at all. If they can't educate, inform, or inspire us, well, those people don't make it on the show. Now, some of you know I wrote a book called Construction Millionaire Secrets. What I've observed from the wisest of business leaders in the trades is that they're really bolted down when it comes to time, team, money, how to grow predictably, exit planning, succession planning, marketing, and sales. They're very intentional about growth. On top of that, which is unique to contracting, maybe contracting and the restaurant industry, is that a lot of us deal with the big, hey, Dom, we are a family business question. Yeah, contracting and restaurants is probably the two. Anyways, that's how I build the show agenda year over year. Okay, now let's jump back to growth. Look, to me, it doesn't matter what size of company you have, how many people you have in the shop, whether you're one employee or 10 or 20 or 200. And that might surprise you. And that's because I'm not talking about the size of the business you've got. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to the fight, the burn, the desire that's within you. I'm really talking to what makes you, you. And in most cases, I haven't met you yet, but I already know a little bit about you. Because if you tuned into this show, it's because you are a combination of frustrated and excited. You're excited because you know you can grow. And then you're frustrated because you feel you're stuck at whatever level you're at. And the people on the outside of your life and your business, friends and family, they look at you and they say, what drives you? You don't have an answer, but you know you can't shake it. It just is what it is. I'm driven. That's the kind of people who opt into listening to the show. And so that is who I'm talking to. Welcome again. You're going to hear me talk about the same systems and processes, whether your sales are 500,000 a year, 3 million, or 17 million a year. Now, again, it's up to you to put these things in place. Remember, you have to bring the when. And of course, if we ever get a chance to meet, I'm happy to walk you through your specific situation. Now, for a moment, let me jump over to rights and responsibilities. It is your right as a forward-facing business owner to get the information you need when you need it delivered in a way that makes sense. Now, at the same time, it's my responsibility to make sure that everything we talk about here is simple and easy to put in place. Simple systems, simple pictures, simple documents, simple downloads, simple ideas, simple models, simple scales. And you're always going to hear about simple systems from me. So now it's your responsibility to take action on what I show you. And it's my right to hold you accountable and to challenge you. Okay, so now we're clear on our rights and responsibilities. Now, some of you who haven't heard the show before might be asking, why the heck did you start this podcast? And why are you building this community for cabinet makers? Well, for too long, our industry has been keeping secrets. Why? There's no secret sauce for success. What there is a process, a logical, thoughtful, step by step process. Because we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can negotiate the color or maybe the size, but it's round. Anything other than that is not a wheel. And I hear you when you text me or send me emails or we get on a call together. People say, Dom, look, we're doing good, but we could be doing better. Some will say, look, I'm ready, but there's so much to do and I don't know where to start. This one I hear a lot. Why are we busy, but we're still broke? I call that one the kitchen table conversation because by the time I hear that, you've already talked to your spouse about that over coffee in the morning. And then the other one, of course, as I mentioned before, is when you have a family business and a lot of moving parts, but there's a lot of stickiness to those moving parts. I think we both understand what I mean there. Anyways, if any of that sounds familiar, you're going to be happy to know that I use those kind of questions by listening to you. I use that to build the agenda and the outline for the podcast for the overall year. There are simple systems to help you run this business, make the money you deserve, live the life you want. Those simple systems, they give you quiet confidence to take this company wherever you want to get to. As you listen to me right now, do me a favor, put your shoulders back, put your chin up just a quarter of an inch. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Quiet confidence. If I had to summarize everything for you, this podcast is about the mindset of growth and success for you as a business owner. And now we're on mindset. Speaking of mindset, I got a couple of dad jokes for you. Now, some of you might be asking, why dad jokes? Why bad jokes? And why dad jokes poorly delivered with poor timing? Because I want to get you laughing and I want to get your mind open to hear what Phil has to say. So I'm going to deliver these jokes. I want you to hear them, maybe write them down, and then I want you to deliver them to giggling children. There's nothing more beautiful than the sound of happy children. And so if these dad jokes help you get a couple of smiles and laughs from your family, then I've done my job. Hey, the first joke comes from Don. Don is an accountant I work out with in the morning. He looks like a cop, but he is an accountant. And he's actually an accountant who specializes in what I have to call mega family corporations, like billion-dollar family businesses. These are the kind of people I start my day with. Here's his joke. Thank you, Don, by the way. Why is dark spelled with a K? Because you can't see in the dark. Hey, a lady walked into a pharmacy and told the pharmacist that she needed some cyanide. The pharmacist said, why in the world do you need cyanide? Well, the lady then explained that she needed to poison her husband. The pharmacist's eyes got big and he looked around nervously and he said, I can't give you cyanide to kill your husband. They'll throw both of us in jail. Well, the lady reached into her purse and pulled out a picture of her husband in bed with the pharmacist's wife. The pharmacist took one look at the picture and said, well, you didn't tell me that you had a prescription. Hey, why was the egg asked to leave the safety meeting? It kept telling yolks. What does a duck use to solve math problems? It uses a quackulator. Oh, these ones are getting me, actually. I'm in a giggly mood, I guess, today. What does a spider love to do in school? Work on websites. Who is the king of all the stationery? The ruler. I think you actually have to say that one with a body language. Like you have to stand up tall and like you're on a soapbox giving a speech in a town square. Who is the king of all stationery? The ruler. Hey, do you know what the coolest letters are in the alphabet? The AC. What's the favorite tree of an English professor? Let's do this one with a British accent. I don't know why. They're not. Listen, I know there's a lot of Brits listening to the show. You're not smarter. You just sound smarter. What is the favorite tree of an English professor? A poetry. For those of you who are students of accents, I think I switched between Aussie, New Zealand, and some very small dialect of Northern England. This one's really good. For those of you who are maybe out there right now doing an install. This is probably a perfect joke for you and the install crew. Save this one for lunch. So you walk up to the rest of the crew and you say this: "Hey, what does an overqualified circle have? 360 degrees." That works if you're actually working at like a professor's house or something, doing a big install for, those people that have all those initials after their name. Yeah, fantastic. Here's a question you might not have considered before. Why was the broom late to class? He overswept. Look, if your mind's not open now, I don't know what's going to do. What animal is not allowed to take an exam in school? A cheetah. Okay. Here's another one too. I think this one works, especially, when you've got that new apprentice and you're trying to teach them how to read a tape measure. This is where all of us, all across the North America, well, the world, are rolling our eyes. Yeah, I'm doing that right now, Tom. How do you make 7 an even number? You say that really seriously to the guy, right? How do you make 7 an even? Maybe you're at the chop saw, right? How do you make 7 an even number? He's like, I don't know. You go, you remove the first S. All right, here we are. You're a very serious show, right? You can tell we're only dealing with the big issues. Hey, listen, this is an odd transition, but here we go. I host this podcast because one day I want to be your business coach. I would be very proud to do that. As a matter of fact, I have a team of business coaches I have personally hand selected. I have extremely high expectations for the people that join my team, and I'm proud of every single one of them. So at the end of the show, I'm going to give you some tools for building your business and an opportunity to contact me so we can talk about your particular situation. As you listen to this podcast, ask yourself if you think me and my team might be the right tool to help you get to the next level. Okay, I'm going to switch now into business coach mode. I have 2 very simple actions for you. Number 1, I'm going to challenge you. Phil is going to challenge you because in today's episode, you're going to hear something, learn something, or realize something. On that, I want you to take action in the next 24 hours. Remember earlier, I said you have to bring the when? You're on deck, my friend. When is now? In the next 24 hours, I want you to make a change, but then I also want you to pay attention to how that improves your business or your life. Number 2, think on this idea. Are you happy being a contractor, being a fabricator, being a manufacturer who runs a few crews? Or are you ready today to be a business person who just happens to run a construction company? By the end of today's episode, you, my friend, will know the answer. So let's get to it. Mr. Phil Risher, how are you?
Hey Dom, I'm good, man. How are you
Yeah,
doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I feel like I'm looking at the master of reinvention, Phil Risher.
Oh yeah, why is
What?
that?
Because every time I go do homework on you, I find a new article. Like you refit a school bus.
Yeah,
There's a whole series of stuff on you and refitting a school bus traveling the country on like $0. Is that did I get the right guy?
yeah, that's me. That's me. Yeah, I bought a school bus. I made a little tiny home.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, and traveled around the country for about a couple months, 3 months. It's
yeah.
fun.
Just doing what? Like finding yourself or finding other people or like
No,
geocaching? Like what was the deal?
I had a blog, which is how I learned about digital marketing, SEO, that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
then I decided that I was going to go travel around and like kind of promote my blog, make YouTube content, do news interviews. And I
Oh,
really
okay.
like hiking and traveling. And so
Sure.
it kind of all worked together. So it was like doing, growing that, but then also just doing fun stuff, hiking, and that kind of
Hanging
stuff.
out, seeing the country.
Yeah.
Well, but then we dig back further in time. I feel like I'm about to pull out your kindergarten teacher. What was that TV show where they used to do that? There was an article I found about you as well, where you'd paid off student debt by house hacking, and then you bought a place. Like, yeah, you've had
Yeah.
some very interesting ways of taking your mindset to a different level.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And so that's how I started the blog. My wife is a kindergarten teacher, and all of her friends have student loans, and the teachers don't make as much money as they should. And so they're all
Right.
like, Phil, how did you pay off your student loans? Like, we're drowning in student loan debt.
Mm.
And like all of her friends kept asking me. So I'm like, what if I just made a blog and like shared my, my budget template and like kind of told them my story and like what I did.
Yeah.
And then I started sharing it. And then it just like, as you saw, it got a bunch
Blew up.
of
It
city.
blew up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that one red paperclip story. I don't know if you ever followed that.
No,
You've never heard of one red paperclip? So,
no.
by the way, folks, this is not the topic I have Phil to talk about today. We not only are we off topic, we're behind topic. We went into the past, but let me quickly explain one red paperclip, and then we'll get to Phil's expertise in the construction trades. But one red paperclip is a story of a guy who took literally one red paperclip, and he started to trade it up, and he eventually traded it into a house. Like
Wow.
he traded it for a pen, then he traded the pen for something else, then he traded it for a bike, then he traded the bike, a few steps to a car. And so it's a pretty interesting story just about
Yeah.
moxie, just getting out there with the cojones to do it.
I love that.
So
That's what it takes.
yeah, it's just a great story. Anyways, that has nothing to do with Phil. Phil Risher, who the heck are you? And how does it come to be that you are speaking to all these forward facing contractors all over the world?
Yeah, Phil Risher, Phlash Consulting. We work with local service businesses and we help them increase their sales, keep their schedules full. As we just talked about, I had a blog and I learned SEO, digital marketing. I
Yeah.
ended up working at an air duct cleaning company and helped them grow their business using digital marketing, technology, and sales. And the guy's like, dude, you got to go be a consultant and help other businesses. And so that's what we do.
Yeah. Well, hold on. You kind of glossed over something. So
Okay.
I helped the air duct company. Give us some numbers, things that you can share, but you've shared them
Oh,
before. So
yeah.
what? Tell me what helped them means. What did that mean?
Yeah. Well, I went to work there as the director of business development. They're about $3 million in revenue. The profit margin they were at was about 10%. And when I went there, my background was in running local service businesses and digital marketing. And
Mm.
I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car through their management trainee program.
Oh
And
wow.
I was a flagship branch manager and I was the number one branch manager in the DC metro area. So I knew it inside and out. And so then I went and worked at Atlantic Duct Cleaning. And when I got there, all the processes were broken, the sales and marketing was broken. And so we put a lot of stuff in place, helped them scale 3 million to about 5, $6 million. And then their profit margin increased from about 10% to around 30%. So
Nice. Gross.
yeah.
Or that's net profit margin.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's
And
crazy. It's
yeah, but I
crazy.
love it. But I love it. So that's why, somebody with your expertise and somebody with my expertise work so well together because you help put leads into the company. And then I help people digest those leads when they come in. Because as you know, you can put good leads into a broken system
Oh my gosh.
and
That
then it
happens
just
all the
spills out
time.
the side.
That's the most frustrating part is that we can generate leads, but then it might turn into a lead, but then it doesn't schedule an appointment. It schedules an appointment, but then it doesn't get a proposal. It gets a proposal, but no one follows up on it. And it's like going through this whole
It's
funnel.
frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and let's loop back to this little sub point, if you will. One of the things that I really believe in is not only finding leads, but finding quality leads. And listen, I understand that not all leads are going to be quality. I don't have a magic system, and I don't know of a magic system that only gets the greatest people foaming at the mouth to spend more than market value for your services. That doesn't exist. But what does exist is a consistent system to get access to those types of leads.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of ties into the whole Google reviews thing that if you have Google reviews, you're going to show up more in the search
Yeah.
engine results page. If you show up more in the search engine results page, more people are going to know about you. That doesn't mean that they're all qualified, the best prospects that are going to reach out to you. But what it does mean is that instead of getting one lead, you're going to get 10, 20 leads, and you're going to be able to say, yeah, this is a good lead or not.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because, so let's go back to what the title is of today's show: 5 ways to get 5-star Google reviews.
Yeah.
Are you an expert at that? Are you good at getting people?
Yeah. So let's take that duct cleaning company, for example.
Yeah.
When I started working there, they had 36 Google reviews. They were really heavy in contractor work, which is they subbed a lot of contractor work, and they had to pay a spiff to the contractor.
Right.
And so we looked at it and said, well, if you do COD residential work, you don't have to pay these spiffs. You just get the COD work. So how do you grow your residential side? And what we found was got to get Google reviews. So we helped them go from 36 Google reviews. Now they have 33,200 reviews.
Okay. That's a
This was,
lot.
yeah, this was been in like 4 or 5 years.
So,
So
just as we were getting ready to start the show, I was telling you about a gentleman that now we both know in common because I've made a referral. He's a super well-known, well-respected contractor in his space, cabinetry, right? Very well known, does a lot of builder work, but he has 3 Google reviews. One of
yeah,
them's 10 years old, which I think Google stops paying attention to after 10. Like it's just we're not going to take it we're not going to take it down, but it doesn't count for anything. And yet he's still super popular. He's still well known. And as we were doing his strategic plan and looking at his next quarter, right, the next 3 months, what is that the long-term implication of not having Google reviews? I mean, maybe I can ask you that.
yeah, of course. Well, if you think about it, when someone refers you, they say, "Hey, you got to work with such and such, cabinet maker or whatever, restoration company, whatever you want to call it." They're automatically going to take that name and plug it into Google to get your phone number, to look you up, whatever.
Yeah.
When they put that into Google, your Google business profile is going to pop up right there.
If you have one.
If you have one, yes. But to your point, this company has 3 Google reviews.
Yeah.
So they're going to see this and they're going to say, "Oh, I thought this guy said he was really well known in like this huge company or something. And he has
Yeah.
3 reviews 10 years ago, no pictures, where's his phone number?
Yeah.
The whole thing." So
The
that,
seeds of doubt. It's the seeds of doubt have been sown.
yeah, that in and of itself, the referral, the go to Google to look you
Yeah.
up is one of the big, big areas of opportunity. Not only the part of, I don't know a good cabinet maker, I don't know a good cabinet
Mm.
refinishing company. So they go to Google and they ask Google, because they trust Google, what's a good cabinet refinishing company in my area? Well, if Google doesn't know you and they don't trust you because you don't utilize their tools by getting Google reviews, by posting pictures, by doing everything that they want, then they're not going to show you in their search engine results, and then you're not going to get found.
Well, that's what happens, unfortunately, with this gentleman. And he's a cabinet builder. I mean, cabinet builder, they do everything. He just did a closet that was over $300,000 and it was only the wife's closet. So
Wow.
now that's not every job, but that's a job that really stands out. Crazy. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
It's more than some people's house.
That's some people's house. Yeah. But
Yeah.
those deals exist. And then there's the regular run of the mill. Some people do $14,000 kitchens and do great at it. And other people do $140,000 kitchens and do great at it. The
Yeah.
size of the job doesn't tell me the quality of the company. I'm just giving you a sense of he gets called into those kind of jobs. But I think, and the reason this came up is because I think he's on the Twinkie diet plan. I'm just making this up. Hear me out for a second. If you eat
Sure.
a Twinkie today, it's going to be okay. I would never eat a Twinkie, but if I eat a Twinkie today, that's fine. If I eat a Twinkie tomorrow, that's fine. If I keep eating Twinkies, I'm going to think everything's fine until suddenly it's not. Suddenly that's going to catch up to my body. Not having Google reviews today maybe isn't a big deal, but 5 years from now, when all of my competitors who currently only have 10 now have 300, I'm just that much further behind. It's going to be catastrophic at some point.
Yeah, I'll take it even a step further to this, which this is the really scary part, is that voice search, using your home device, using your phone,
Mm.
people are going to be asking these platforms. They're not going to be on there typing stuff or searching.
Oh gosh, I
So
hadn't even thought of that.
if you ask them and you don't have a relationship with them, they're not going to recommend you. It's going to be like that. All these smart homes and all this stuff, whether it's your HVAC system, whether it's whatever, it's
Yeah.
all going to be your HVAC system could have something in it that says, "Hey, this is not working. Here's 3 companies that we recommend." I mean, that
I
seems
mean, that is, you know what? That just makes logical sense that the smartphone, the smart fridge, for
exactly.
goodness sakes, the smart dishwasher. Who needs a smart dishwasher? But they've got them now.
I think you're going to have an app on your phone where all of your devices in your home are going to be on there, and then you're going to be able to click. It's going to show
this
you.
this audience knows about it because they're the ones building the cabinetry around those built-in
Yeah,
appliances. Yeah, no, that's a great point that the appliances or the Internet of Things is going to say we have this problem. The refrigerant is running low. Here are 3 contractors. This is the top rated contractor. Would you like me to call them for you? To which you're
exactly.
going to say, yeah, yeah, just
Exactly. And that's why if you're not getting Google reviews and you're not doing the things to build trust with Google right now, you're going to be behind the 8 ball in 3 to 5 years. And that guy that just starting his business, who's, in his early 20s, who can get Google reviews and knows a little bit about technology, he's going to pass you up after you've been doing this for 30
This
years.
uh, again, this is new. I'm no expert in this, which is why I try to find people like yourself who are. But this feels like a conversation that we could have had 20 years ago when somebody said computers, and somebody else answered, "Don't make those computers. We do it all here. We've got carbon copies and pens, and they're just fine." And
Exactly.
that was the conversation 20 years ago.
Yeah. Let me print out my proposal on this dot matrix printer and take it out on my
Yeah. And
proposal.
and look, I don't it's easy to make a joke,
Yeah.
but we have to remember where the audience comes from. They're already busy.
Yeah.
They're going like gangbusters. They got a customer calling them right now while they're just trying to listen to this show. They've got an
Yeah.
installer who didn't show up. They got an edge bander that's not working. They got they just have a regular business. I mean, and they're trying to improve it, which is why they're listening here. And now we're adding to their plate. Oh, by the way, are you on Google Maps? Do you have online reviews? Do you have a functional website? And I'm going to make this statement, and I'd like you to argue or disagree with me. Not argue in the in the sense of let's just have a discussion. But to me, a website is just a billboard on a highway. But if I don't have it optimized for Google, the billboard is not facing the road; it's facing the forest. That's how I see, websites to be.
I would argue that point in that your website is a conversion tool.
Yes, that's
The,
that's right.
the more people that you get to your website, the
Yeah,
more leads that you're supposed to pull off your website.
yeah,
So an example of this is like if you get 100 people to your website, you should be able to convert them at 5 to 10%. So if you get 100 people, you should get 5 or 10 leads out of it. Where a billboard is more like someone goes to it or a brochure, they go to it and they kind of see what you're about, but it's not optimized to convert into leads.
right.
There's a study that 87% of people make their decision of who they're going to work with before they even go to your website. They're reading reviews,
Yeah,
they're saying, okay, what company do I want to work with? Then they go to your website just to say, is this company legit or not? It's one of those detractors or
yeah.
not. When they go to your website, all they want to know is how much is it going to cost and when can you do it? And so if you make it easy for them to take action on your website, that's how you turn them into leads.
Love
So
it.
it's all about conversions once they get to
Yeah.
your web.
All right, let's get to the point here because we promised everybody that you were gonna. That's right, 5 ways to get 5-star Google reviews.
Yep.
And let me just do this little plug. By the way, can I do this plug?
Or
You were a guest on the Profit Tool Belt podcast, which some people listening may or may not know. I have another show. It's called Profit Tool Belt, and you were a guest there, and we were talking there on what to do if you have 1-star or negative reviews. So Phil
correct.
is he's a renowned expert in this. We went and sought him. We went and found you. I had my producer find you so that we could bring you in specifically on this Google review subject. So thank you. But also a
Yeah.
note to everybody, if you want to get deeper, go listen to Phil on my other show as well. But let's get back. I keep going back in time. Let's go forward in time. So, what are
Yeah.
the 5 ways to get 5-star Google reviews?
Yep. So the first thing we just implemented this with a company that we work with, this landscaping company in New York.
Mm.
He went from zero, literally zero Google reviews to 63 Google reviews in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
Yeah. And this is exactly what he did. This is the first one that I would say everyone start with this. Well, you got to have a Google business profile.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have one, go to google.com/business. You can set one up. So get a Google business profile, go on your Google business profile, click on reviews. And if you can't figure this out, go to YouTube and see how to get your review link. On Google, they give you a custom review link for your Google business profile that all you
Mm.
have to do is send that review link to someone. They click on it and it pops up your Google business profile. It shows them how many stars to select. It makes it very easy for people to leave you Google reviews.
So, you could send this to your mother-in-law, your cousin, your uncle, I'm just saying, it could go to anybody that you choose.
Yeah, so one pushback that we get a lot of times with like cabinet makers or restoration shops is that they're usually like vendors or they're working with home builders or that kind of stuff. So they're not really seeing the end user much. And so to your point, who do you ask to give you the Google review? A lot of times what we recommend is like ask all of your vendors,
Mm.
anyone that you work with, any partner that you have, anyone that you maybe buy paint from or supplies from for the shop,
Yeah.
anyone that's sold you any equipment that would recommend your business. And then, yeah, to your point is like anyone that would just generally recommend you, family, friends, that kind of
Okay.
stuff.
So that's how you start.
That's how you start. Get
Is
that
this how
Google.
these guys got 63 in 2 weeks?
Yeah, we got him his Google review link. And again, you could do this yourself. Get the Google review link. text it out to all these people and just say, hey, do you mind leaving? You have 30 seconds, leave me a quick Google review recommending my business.
Wow. Great.
Yep. That's step one. Number two, what I would say is try to come up with a way to incentivize your employees to get
Mm,
reviews. So let's say, you're doing the walk-in closet and your installers are out there and they're finishing the project.
hmm
If you don't have like a full-on salesperson or project manager and your installers are just out there, at the end of the service, the installers can say, hey, do you mind leaving me a Google review to let my boss know that I did a great job? Or
I love it.
however that conversation goes. You can turn that link that you got from step one into a QR code.
Right.
And you can put that on like an iPad. You can screenshot it, maybe even put it on the back of a
Clipboard.
clipboard or something like that. I would recommend like making a card like this if you can't see this
Mm,
on the podcast, like a QR code like this, where you can just give them the card. A lot of times, what we see is if you are maybe more old school and you have paper, take that card and just clip it to your contract or your
sure.
service agreement. Get
And
the
ask
review.
for that review.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's going to be the second thing is incentivize your techs, ask for reviews.
Now, incentivizing the techs, the technicians, the field crew is really important. Do you see people paying or compensating the field techs or the install crew for doing that? Like, and what are some ideas there?
Yeah. So the first thing that you could do is you could say, hey, Dom, each review that you get, you're going to get $10 if they mention your name in that review.
Oh, okay.
And then what that's going to do is we all know it's great service if they remember your name. So you need to make sure they remember your name, put it in the review. Then each review that you get $10. So
Nice.
simple as that. Yep. If you have like a salesperson, a project manager, because sometimes, there's a lot of people touching these jobs. You
Mhm.
could look at doing a team goal, which
Right.
is, hey, once we hit 50 Google reviews, everyone's going to get $100 Amazon gift card, or we're going to go out to, lunch or dinner or buy lunch for the office or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. So there is, I like that because if our I'm going to sound like an economist now. It's called aligning incentives in boring economist speech, but that's what we want to do. I want to make sure that my installers or whatever my technician is, my field people are lined up the same way as I am. Um, something you did interesting there in the script, Phil, is, and I've heard this done before with an HVAC training company that I've gone to speak for many times, is they say, "Hey, can you please leave a review because my boss really wants to make sure I did a good job, and my boss is going to watch this, and my boss looks. Do you mind?" And it sets up on purpose this us versus them, where the person is now they're feeling like, oh my God, this guy came out and fixed my cabinets, or this designer helped me build my beautiful kitchen, and their boss is going to see if they did a good job. Of course they did a good job. Let's tell the boss how great they did. And so by working that into the conversation, you're giving that person a chance to give you a compliment or give the field person a compliment, whether it's the designer or the installer. So it's interesting that you don't know this HVAC company, I can guarantee it, but you guys both have the same suggestion here, which is to use the companies watching. Can you please help me out?
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing to the incentivization of reviews, we hear this a lot of times. You want to have performance pay for your employees or incentivize them to do things or give them
Mm.
some type of commission. And a lot of times it's like, well, how do I incentivize them? What KPIs do I use to motivate them to make more money? Or how do I give them an opportunity to make more money? This is a great way where it's uncapped. If they have 10 people in their life that would review your company, then they can get 10 reviews and make more money.
Oh, listen, I don't care if their mom and their cousins gave them a review. If it mentioned their name and my company, that served the purpose. And really, when we think about a review, and let's use the number $10, that's just a marketing fee to me. That's an acquisition cost, which I'm happy to. I would invest that anyways. What I hate to see people do is go to some underhanded service that said we'll pay for Google reviews. That's not the same thing. Getting some people from offshore to come and review your business is not what
No.
we're talking about here.
No, you don't want to do that. Anyone that would naturally in conversation recommend your business, those would be people that you would want them to leave you
Yeah.
reviews.
Yeah. So please don't think, folks, this is a breach of ethics. We are trying to change the rules, the playing on the playing field. That I'm okay with, but cheating, not okay with.
No.
So number one is ask vendors, partners, sales reps, family, and friends to leave you a review. Number two is to incent our employees to get us reviews. What's number three?
Yeah, so number three would be to get the entire company on board, including CSRs, office managers, um, even if you just have shop people that are involved. The reason that it's so important, obviously, we just talked about having some individual goals, but those team goals and having everyone on board,
Yeah.
it will help people see in their day-to-day process of how they can help with reviews. The one that I just mentioned about like stapling something to an invoice or to their routes for the day or what have you.
Hmm.
It builds up in the company that like, hey, we're going for 100 reviews, we're going for 200 reviews, we're going for 1,000 reviews, and we're all going to do this together. It kind of gives you that pinnacle vision as a company.
Right. It'd be great. This is one of the things that I like to talk about when we're building a strategic plan with a company. There's got to be that vision. Like, where are we going? And some people are like, Rubino, I don't need a vision. Trying to make a few extra bucks, get
Yeah.
by, get home in time for dinner. But
Yeah.
a vision is important because if, for instance, one of your values, look, there's a lot of people who listen who are strong in their faith. They have some faith, right? So I'm not going to go into it too deep, but if that's one of your values and that's something you believe in and it's consistent throughout your company, then you might be able to say, look, when we hit this many reviews, we're going to go make sandwiches for the homeless, or we're going to do this as part of our mission work.
So,
And I'm just making that up, but those are the kind of things you can use to get the team galvanized around a vision that's bigger than we're here to make money. That there can be something bigger that you're trying to work towards. It could be raising money for a school. Like, it could be anything you want. It doesn't have to be on that faith path, but what do you want it to be? So that's a great point. So get the entire company on board is number three. What do you got for number four?
yeah. So number four is to come up with some way that you're going to track this. This is where we see people miss the mark, and it can get
Huh,
complicated because a lot of times you might start getting reviews. Let's say that guy, right? We got him, he got 63 reviews. Well, then it kind of falls off, right? You kind of lose that momentum because it's like all gung ho for the first 2 weeks,
that was
but then
easy.
there's not an actual process or system to continue the reviews.
Mm,
So it's like a flavor of the month, like, oh, it was great. We got some reviews. With that example that I gave from 30 to 300, 3,200 now, they have a system and process that they built into their business, and it wasn't a one-shot thing. And then also what they do is they track them hardcore. So literally in their break room with all their team, they have a like on their wall, they have a thing almost like a thermometer where it's like kind of keeping track of the reviews. Everyone every single day knows how many Google reviews that we have.
oh,
Someone's responsible for keeping track of those reviews. And so what I'm saying is, if no one knows that you're getting reviews or you stop talking about it and there's no process in there for people to understand, it's just going to fall away and it's going to be the flavor of the month thing.
so many directions to go on this, but you just said the word process, which on this show is the magic word process, SOP, simple system. Can you outline what a simple system would be that you've seen work so that we can make this come to life inside the company?
Yeah. So your office manager or whoever, every week or every day or every month, they have a checklist that they have to go in and see who got reviews or
Mhm.
how many reviews that we have. Then on a whiteboard or something where people clock in every single day, you have a whiteboard there that says reviews, and their job is to go there, see how many reviews you have, go to the whiteboard, write on there. This is
Yeah.
how many reviews you have. Something as simple as that, right where everyone clocks in so they see it.
Mm, okay.
Yep,
And then you have to talk about it.
absolutely.
Yeah. At your huddle or at your toolbox talk or your safety meeting.
Yep, good or bad. Hey, guys, we got this many reviews this week or this month. Put it on a KPI or some type of like dashboard or however you're keeping track of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that goes back to incentives. Interesting, because we're talking to cabinet makers and architectural mill workers and closet companies here. And the person that's facing the customer is either the designer that sold the deal or, the owner, whoever that is, and then the installer. But there's a whole bunch of people underrepresented who built it, who
Right.
carried it on their back, who painted it. And so I guess having a way to make sure those people get incented as well, so that that social pressure is like, hey, Danny, the designer, you should get lots of more referrals because we've been doing a great job here putting out quality, cabinetry. We're building great product. So there has to be something that recognizes the team there. But it's so easy to do. It doesn't have to be complicated. My favorite way to incent a team is the either or incentive. So use hot dogs as a great example. Let's say that we want to get 50 reviews. I'll just pick that number out of the blue. We want to get 50 reviews by the end of the month. And that number lines up with how you do business, right? It could be 5, could be 50, but we'll use 50. So guys, if I'll tell the team, look, if you get 50 reviews or above, we're going to have steak for lunch on the first Friday of the new month. If we don't, we're still going to have a barbecue, but you get hot dogs. And you get hot dogs, you get no name brand. We're going to have no name brand. So guys, we're still going to have hot dogs, but we're not going to have steaks. And now
Yeah.
everybody's got something to work towards. So we're still going to have a team barbecue, but you pull it out, it's the blue and yellow packaging, and everybody's like, oh no.
Yes. They're
Right. But
still
it becomes a conversation. But then
yeah,
you bring out the steaks the next month. You're like, guys, I called Omaha Steak Company and they mailed us this. You're like,
I love it. I think that's great.
it's the either or. So there's still a reward. There's still recognition for the efforts, but guys, you only hit 49.
Yeah.
How do we hit 50 next month? And then on and on you go, right?
Yeah. I think it's great.
Yeah. So that process doesn't have to be tough. You mentioned that the assistant, so as an example, could track the number daily, weekly, or monthly. Do you find it more powerful to do it more often or less often?
Yeah. So if you're going to incentivize people, they want to kind of know like you're keeping track of things. And so I would say if you're going to incentivize per person and you're going to track reviews, the company that went from 30 to 3,200, they look at this thing every single day and they're keeping track because they get like 20, 30 reviews a day.
Wow.
Yeah, because they
Yeah.
go like 20 or 30 jobs and their techs are like, hungry for it. So if you look at it on a daily basis, weekly basis, I would say at a minimum monthly is keep. That's what we do as a company when we send out our end of the month reports. We're looking on a monthly basis for clients and we're saying like, hey, great
Yeah.
job. Or like, we need some work here.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about the audience here for this show, and some of them might produce 1 or 2 kitchens a month, so their pace would be a little bit slower, and others
Yeah.
might have 4 install crews doing closets, so they're doing maybe 4 jobs a day,
Yeah.
maybe. So there's a lot of variance there, but inside that you've got to find your own cadence to track those things. You know,
Yeah.
one of the ways that we use to help values come to life in a business is to not just have a value. So if our value, for instance, is quality, who cares?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything, but it means something when we get recognized for quality. So if we get a quality award, that means quality has come to life. And I would, if I use quality as a value as an example, and we read out the most recent Google review that mentioned quality, that reinforces to everybody like, hey, quality really matters, right? The Risher
Absolutely.
family we just installed their closets, and here's what they had to say, folks. And so you read the Google review to everybody, and now we know we're making an impact.
That's right. And to take it a step further with that, your salespeople, if they don't have the conviction or they fall off and you have a list of great reviews that your company has received and
Right.
you say, hey, last week, here's all the great things that people said about us. How much more fired up are your salespeople going to be? Because now they have the conviction that, yeah, we do great work. Like, look at what these people have to say.
Right. That's a good point. I suppose that's also a great way to test a new sales rep. We're not starting to see the reviews come in, or we're seeing low reviews.
Yeah,
I always, if there's a score out of 5 and somebody gives me a 3, it's a polite 2.
of course.
A 3 to me is a polite 2. I'm like, uh-oh, something's gone wrong here.
Yeah. But if you have a new sales rep coming in, this is what we do at our company when we have a new consultant that comes on board. We literally have them go through our Google reviews and say, read all these great things that people said about us.
Wow.
Because then they will get the conviction of what we do instead of them having to figure out like, wow, we're actually pretty great. It's like, no, go read what everyone
That's
else
a
said.
simple system, Phil. That's really good. I
Yeah.
would suppose that the other thing holds true is go look at the market. Go, here's our top 3 competitors. Go read their reviews. See what people liked and see what they didn't like. I'm
Yeah.
going to add to that, by the way. Let me add to that. If you're going to do that with your team, we never speak negatively about our competitors. We don't do that. None of us do that. Everybody hold up your hand as you're listening right now and say this with me. Hold up your right hand. I never speak negatively about my competitors. I never speak negatively about my competitors. That's the worst thing you could do. Now, what I can do is I can speak vaguely about my competition, like Risher Cabinets. I've heard, I think I've heard of them. I don't know. I do know our cabinet company, and this is what we do. But leave it at that. That's all I have to say about Risher Cabinets. I don't have to say the guy's a charlatan. I don't have to say he's close to going out of business. I don't have to say he takes deposits and runs. Nothing. What I can say is Risher Cabinets. Huh. No, I'm sorry. I don't know them, but I do know our company. Can I focus on that? And they'll go, oh, yeah, great. I don't ever have to speak negatively about a competitor, ever. The worst thing you could do.
Yep, I completely agree. People ask us all the time. We have a prospect right now. He sent me two or three other companies that do what we do, and I'm like, oh yeah, I think they look great. You should set up a meeting with them. Just see what they're about. I
Yeah,
mean,
do it.
sure, go for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's not, they're going to do it anyway. You might as well take the lead on it.
Yeah, yeah,
So here, let me put my glasses on because, glasses make me look wiser.
yeah.
Here's where we are so far in the 5 ways to get 5-star reviews. Number 1 is ask your vendors, partners, sales reps, family, and friends to give you reviews, right? That's number 1. Number 2 is incent our employees to get us reviews. And we talked about
Yep,
that a little bit. Number 3 is get the entire company on board. CSRs, customer service reps, right? And all other people in your company. Doesn't matter how your company is organized, get everybody on board with it. And then
yep.
number 4, come up with a way to track this.
That's right.
Okay.
And number five, you almost hit it. I thought you were gonna
No, no,
unleash.
no. If I did, I was going to leave it for you. That's me just being, a good
No,
host.
in the conversation, it kind of led to alluding to the number five one, which this one is a home run, which is recognizing your top people
Okay.
and going above and beyond. And your top people in the sense of people that get reviews. So at this company that went from 30 to 3,200, what they do is when someone gets 10 reviews, they get a $100 gift card or whatever. When they reach 100 reviews as a person, they make a plaque for them
Oh,
and they stick
wow.
it
Yeah.
on the break room wall, like where everyone clocks in. They get a plaque, they put it on the break room wall, and they say, "You are a 10-star technician. You've gotten 100 Google reviews." And when they come in, everyone sees that this person is a 10-star technician, 100 Google reviews.
Phil, I like that. And you know why I like that is because I think a lot about the kitchen table where of my employees, of the people who work for me.
Yep.
And imagine when they go home to their wife and kids and everybody's like, hey, how was your day, honey? And oh, I turned in my science homework. I did okay. Hey, dad, how was your day? I got an award. Like, what? What'd you
Yeah.
get an award for, dad? That at the kitchen table, that family just said, hey, my dad got recognized at work. My dad's great. And so now, even if something negative or slightly neutral happened at work, everybody's like, but it's a pretty cool place you work, dad, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
They
that's
give us
right.
awards.
One of the examples that exact thing happened. The one of the technicians came in. He's an air duct cleaner. His English is not the greatest. He's
Mm.
just does duct cleaning. He was literally taking the picture of the thing, and I was like, "What are you taking a picture?" He's like, "I'm sending it to my wife. She's gonna be so proud of me." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Dude, great job."
that is a great job. Yeah, it's just think about the human impact of that. So it doesn't really take a lot. It doesn't take a lot, but you mentioned something important, Phil, which is flavor of the week, flavor of the month. And I
Yeah,
wonder how many of us have done this. It's Monday. So we walk into the shop and we're like, hey, everybody, I read this great book. And the book is called, let's just say, The E Myth Revisited. And here's what we're going to do. And everybody's like, yeah, okay, boss. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then as soon as I turn my back, they're like, wait till Wednesday. He'll forget. Right. The next Monday comes along. Guys, I just read this book, Traction. We're going to implement EOS. And everybody's like, yeah, yeah, okay, boss. Okay, boss. And then they turn to each other, wait till Wednesday. Just give it, just, it'll run its course. And then the next Monday comes, and I'm like, no, mastering the Rockefeller habits, like scaling up, everything else out the window. This is what we're going to do. And I suddenly get painted as this picture of what did Dom read this weekend? What great video did he see? Is he now motivated by some Instagram reel?
yeah,
And they start to lose faith in my leadership. So pick one thing, stick on it until it's done. That's even how I do coaching with people. It's just pick a thing and stick on it until it's done.
yeah. I have a thing actually on my desk. It says, "My job is to identify the constraint,
Mm,
solve the constraint, and then repeat." And if
simple systems.
a lot of
Yeah.
times they identify the constraint, they have a solution, but they never actually implement it, or they implement it, but then they never check up on anything.
Yeah.
And like with
Yeah.
reviews, that process is very simple, but if there's ways that you can automate that process, like I'll give you a couple examples of this. Some people have CRMs or client relationship management tools where they send out an
Mm.
invoice that's automatically generated.
Yeah.
You could put that link in that invoice that says, "Hey, thanks so much for choosing us. Can you take 30 seconds and leave a review?" That's a
Nice.
simple way to automate that process. Another one is like text message. You could have if you have a project management or a salesperson that started the process,
Yeah.
you can send a text message at the end, just like they would naturally when they check in with the client. They could send that as well. So
Nice.
there's some ways that you can build this into your current processes so that it does happen. But that's why it's so important that you have a monthly check-in or some checkpoint that says, how many Google reviews do we get? Hopefully, if you're running traction, you have some like,
Yeah.
weekly 10, whatever, that kind of stuff.
So, yeah. Some way to track it. You know what? For me, if they're using Traction or if they're using some other system, it's fine. I just want to make
Yeah.
sure that people are tracking their numbers because a company that tracks numbers is a company that tracks their numbers. It's that simple. They track the things that are important. Uh,
Some of our clients that run on traction, they make that a KPI. It's like, how many Google reviews did we get this week? They put it into their level 10 meetings, they keep it going. So,
though, yeah, we put that together into the dashboard. Yeah, I love it because you do
yeah,
have to you have to manage things. You have to measure the things that you care to manage.
correct.
Um, Something you mentioned there just made me ask this question: should I be focusing on Google reviews, Yelp reviews, House reviews, Angie's List? What gives me the biggest bang for the buck?
Yeah. So Yelp reviews, technically you cannot solicit Yelp reviews. So you're not allowed to really ask for Yelp reviews. The thing with a lot of these platforms is that they don't give you the custom URL link like Google does.
Mm,
Google is where, 90% of people are going to search when they don't know for a company or if, that kind of stuff. The one caveat to that is if you're running house ads or Thumbtack or any of these other platforms, if you're running ads on them, you want to make sure that you get reviews on there because that's going to bolster your profile. And then when you're
right.
running, it's going to help support that ads platform. But from an organic perspective, Google is obviously going to be the best place that you can get reviews. So if you're not running ads on these other platforms, just focus on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you could split your efforts and then it dilutes everything. And
Yeah, no, everyone is ending up on Google at some point. Even if they're on House and you're running ads or they see your stuff, they're going to go to Google and search you. They're going to go to your website and check you out.
right. So eventually they'll see that you've got a ton of reviews.
Yeah,
Eventually. Yeah. So you believe that the strongest one is Google.
absolutely.
Yeah. I think Google will out survive all the other ones anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those again are the flavor of the month. If they shut off their stuff or your ads are not working, then you're going to jump to the next ad platform, the next ad platform.
Yeah.
Google is for organic, which is what you want.
So let's do some math. I've got my handy dandy calculator here, which we're not going to need, but I'm going to do it on the calculator anyways. Somebody goes and types in a keyword that's important to them. So
Yeah,
custom kitchen cabinets in, let's say they're in, let's just pick the middle of the country, uh, Omaha. I already said
yeah,
Omaha Steak. So let's say Omaha, Nebraska. So custom kitchen cabinets, Omaha, Nebraska. And they look and their competitors have 10 reviews, 17 reviews, 3 reviews. And they think to themselves, I'm never going to get 17 reviews. How am I ever going to do that? We only produce one kitchen a month or one kitchen a week. Sorry. Like we're just never going to get there. But I want to do the math with you. Let's take the company that you look at, your competitor who has 10 reviews now. If they get one review a month, just one review a month by the end of the year, so they're going to have 22 reviews. By the end of the year after that, they're going to have 34 reviews. By the end of the year of that, they're going to have 46 reviews. It's not going to get easier, is my point.
no,
It's
it,
it's just not going to get easier.
that's right. And if you're doing one a week, what we've seen is usually you should be able to get like 10, 20% of people to leave you a review very minimally. If you're
Right.
not even like asking or anything, if you just have a link or a QR code or something.
Well, that's very, if you're doing one a week, that's a low number then. 10% of that is you're getting one a year.
Yeah. I think with that process though, it's so intimate of a process of the
Yeah.
kitchen. And so you're building such a strong bond with these people that they're
Mm,
going to leave you a Google review if you do a good job.
yeah. Well, let's take 2 seconds then. And because we're building such an intimate bond, not all jobs go great.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are problems.
Yeah.
And so I know we talked about this on the other show, but if we have a few extra minutes, what do I do if I get a negative Google review or a low score? Like I said, I get a 2 or a 3. And, a 3 is a polite 2.
Yeah. Well, first, this is why it's so important to have a proactive review process, because if you have zero reviews and you get one review and it's a 1 star, that's not good. So, so you
There's
got
a
to try
car
to get,
wash in my neighborhood that has only negative reviews and they don't
yeah,
respond at all. Yeah.
exactly. So then when someone sees you, they see you have one review, great, but it's a 1 star review. So you got to have a proactive plan to get positive Google reviews. But let's say you do get that 1 star review. The
Yeah.
first thing that you would want to do is obviously reach out to the customer. If you know this customer and you're like, oh yeah, we did screw up this thing on that, try your best to make it right before they get to the whole review process. If they leave you the review, contact them because clearly they're really upset, which is why they left you a Google review.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we see people fighting with people like, okay, let's say I want all my kitchen cabinets for free. Well, clearly, come on, that's not possible. It doesn't make
Right.
any sense.
Right. Right.
And so you want to try to show in the response that you have done everything in your power to resolve the situation for them. That's the first thing you can do. Reach out to them, try to fix it outside
What
of,
does that sound like on the phone? Like, let's say they complain about something. I'll just say technical, right? So, look, we've gone out and we fixed it, but for some reason, I just want to say it's technical. They feel
yeah,
that the countertops and the cabinets don't line up in their kitchen,
yeah,
and it's something like they feel that that's the case, or the
yeah,
color doesn't match what they expected. So I phone them. What does that sound? And they've left me a negative Google review,
yeah.
right?
Hey, Dom, I saw your Google review. What's going on? Tell me what's going on. Something technical happened, whatever. I'm so sorry that it got to this point where you had to go and leave us a Google review. What can I do to solve this problem for you right now?
And they're
What's it going to take?
yeah, I guess at some point it feels like it might come to an impasse where they're like, I told you I want you to repaint my cabinets. And you're like, well, can't, this is the color, it's natural product. I'm not trying to what if this to death, but I'm wondering what that conversation sounds like. Because if
Yeah,
it's an unresolvable situation, we all have difficult customers and they're going to leave us a negative review. So let's say we've got an unresolved customer who left us a negative review. Let's agree on that. It's
yeah,
already gotten to that point. Their final act of defiance is to reach out and leave me a smashing review, even though I've tried to do everything I can. How do
yeah.
I respond to that?
Yeah. So in the comments, then you want to go through and say, hey, Dom, we went back and forth on this a bunch. And here's all the things that we tried to resolve this for you. And here's the reason why you're having this imperfection. It's actually natural wood, which is what you intended, what you wanted initially. And
Mm,
you want to explain kind of like your entire customer service journey with them. Not writing a whole book, but just get some of the points in there. The reason it's so important is because when someone else goes there and they see this 1 star review, you don't want it to be a detractor. You want it to show like, okay, Dom, yeah, clearly he's probably a little bit of a pain. So this company did try to resolve his issue, a bunch of these different things, and he still is upset. So at least they tried to solve this issue,
right. You
opposed
know
to
what
the
I
car
would
wash.
think?
If they never even respond.
Yeah, if they didn't
But
respond, if you don't respond, you're guilty.
yeah,
If you don't
absolutely.
respond, you're guilty. But I suppose if you left a negative review for me, I contacted you in a human format, like by phone or face to face, still didn't resolve it. Then I would go back to the Google review because I get one chance to leave a rebuttal, an answer, right?
That's right. They're going to get notified when you leave that rebuttal. And also, you can't comment on top of your other comment. You can always adjust your comment, but yes, you
Yeah, they
mostly
don't
get.
want it to turn into an argument online. But now when a new prospect or a new customer, potential customer comes to look at it, they're going to go, hey, this Phil guy sounds like a wingnut because Dominic responded and said, we did this, we did this. He apologized. He said, these are the steps we followed. We still didn't come to resolution. I'm so sorry. But I don't know I don't know how you wrap that conversation up. I don't have the answer to that, but you have to say something I suppose that stuff, Phil, how you respond.
Yeah. So at the end, you can respond and just say, thank you that that you choose for your service, and hopefully, next time we're able to, meet your needs or your expectations or something just like clean like that at the end.
Right. Okay.
It's mostly in the middle that you want to kind of hit like we did this, and you're still crazy.
Yeah. Although you never want to make those you just want to be very factual and yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No,
yeah.
I know.
But
I
you
know.
don't want to get in the fight back and forth, the fist fight on your Google review,
Take the
because
high ground.
yeah, then you're gonna look like the crazy one. And then people are gonna like, wow, this company has a hot temper. And like if we bring one thing up that there's gonna be an issue, are they gonna blow a gasket on us and go crazy? That's
Yeah.
what you don't want to do that.
What was that Seinfeld episode? The guy that sold the soup. could never comment on his soup. Like you had to order the soup the right way. Do you
Yeah,
remember
no
that?
soup for you, no soup for
No
you.
soup for you, then no soup for you guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no soup for you. He's
Yeah.
just not negotiable at all on how the soup and it's for gosh sake, it's soup.
Yeah.
Well, we covered a lot of ground. Not only did we talk about the 5 ways to get 5-star reviews, I also got you to sneak in what to do when you get a negative or a 1-star review.
Yeah. Yeah. One other thing about the negative ones, if it's a person that you don't know and they're like, "Hey, you're not even in my database here," try to discredit their review. Like, "Hey, I looked you up in our database. I don't see your name here, or I don't see you as ever being serviced by us. We're sorry that you had this issue, but we definitely can probably solve it for you. So give us a call here. We'd be happy to help you."
Right. So you're saying there's people out there who leave negative reviews on my company and I don't know who they are?
Yeah, let's say you have they accidentally just picked the wrong cabinet company, or they just go to Google
Oh,
and they're
oh, I
so
see.
mad and they're like, "Oh, this company," and it's like, dude, you're talking about the wrong company here, man.
Yeah. I'll have to ask because out of curiosity, I actually don't know if one of my drivers cut somebody off in traffic. Oh, you're nodding. So this can happen. This can be the cause of a
Oh,
negative Google review.
we get so many of these.
Oh, okay. I see. I don't go swim inside of Google reviews. But sorry. So I hit a nerve. You're laughing already. So
Yeah, I
what do you
mean,
do?
so you can report the reviews on Google. You can go and say, this isn't an actual customer review. This is just someone who's angry about driving.
Okay.
And 9 times out of 10, what we've seen is that Google will remove that review because it's not a real customer's
How
experience.
much? But how? When I respond to Google for whatever, I'm responding to a robot. So how much effort do I have? Like, do I have to respond to them every single week, or like what's the magic formula there to get a negative taken down or amended?
Yeah, well, when you come to respond to reviews, it's very important because it's another trigger back to Google saying that this company is engaged in their Google business profile and clearly they take customer service pretty seriously. So they're going to want to push those people up in
Oh,
their rankings.
oh, that's a positive. They see it as a positive when I respond.
Oh, absolutely. It's a part of our standard operating procedure. We respond every Wednesday, and I would recommend doing that. But to your question about how do you report it and this kind of stuff, there's like 3 dots. You click 3 dots, and then it's going to ask you, is this, profanity, not a customer, fake review,
Mhm.
whatever.
Oh, you
And then,
say fake review or not a customer. I
yeah,
see.
not a customer fake review. And then you don't have to say anything else. They'll review
Oh,
it.
but how often do I have to do that? Because my experience with these companies, these big faceless tech companies, is I'm getting a robot.
Yeah. Sometimes we have a client that it was a whole year. We had to report it every single week. And eventually they took down 3 bad reviews from this one person. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay. But then that's worth doing. And again, that's an SOP or that's just a system. You can assign somebody in your company, say every Wednesday, please, until this is removed, go and report it as not a customer in that case.
Yeah. What I would recommend doing is that weekly process or that monthly process of them seeing how many reviews that you have and putting it on some type of whiteboard or something to track it. Have them go in and respond to the reviews that you received.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I suppose that's something you're an expert on as well. So tell us a little bit more about what you do and how people can find you in this massive
Yeah.
world we
So
live in.
Yeah, so we partner with local service businesses, cabinet making companies, closets, all that kind of stuff. And we help them increase their sales, keep their schedules full.
Hmm.
If they are interested, we do free marketing audits. So we do a complete audit of the business from a marketing perspective. Then we meet with you for 30 minutes and we break down all the things that we found. And then we give you the roadmap and game plan as if you were to work with us, and you can go and do whatever you want on your own, or you can
Oh,
work with
that's
us.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can go to flashconsulting.com, PHLASH consulting.com, and just go there and you can sign up for.
Are domain names so hard to get that you had to get that misspelling of the word flash? Flash Consulting, Phlash Consulting. I mean, it's clever, but
Yeah.
sorry, just how did you come to that?
Yeah, our first client, actually, the duct cleaning guy, he
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, dude, go out and talk to all these other businesses." And he's like, "You need to call your company Flash Consulting." And
Oh, I get it. Phil.
yeah, so my name's Phil, PH, and my
Hmm.
wife's name is Ashley, and I call her Ash.
Oh, okay.
So he's like, "You could call it Flash, PHLASH." And I'm like, "Okay, I like it."
He sounds like a pretty good marketer in his own right. Pretty creative.
Oh yeah, he's great. And to think, he had me working at his company and he still saw the potential in me and said, "Go do your own thing." That's tough to do, to find
Yeah.
someone, gonna actually like push you out of their company basically to go do your own thing.
Yeah.
He's a really great guy. I value his friendship, and he's a good guy.
Well, so he's got a servant leadership approach to things, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, what a great guy.
Oh, that's great. So that's how Phlash Consulting came about.
Yep.
Sorry, my assumption was really off. Don't tell Ashley. Is you said your wife's name is
Misspelling.
Ashley?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
don't tell her I said that.
I can't
All
spell,
right.
so
What's that?
I can't spell, so just
Yeah,
have to.
well, yeah. Well, Phil, thank you. I really appreciate you being on here. I think there's probably a lot of people that picked up some serious info today because the Google reviews thing is this little subset of the internet. It's almost like one more thing to worry about, except that I think it's going to grow in importance as time goes on. And unless I jump in and start taking care of it,
Absolutely. It's
hey,
extremely important.
let me ask you a favor, Phil. Will you
So
leave a review of this podcast somewhere?
absolutely, I'll be happy to.
I feel compelled to ask.
It's just natural. I mean, hey, if you like this stuff, you got to leave us a review. That's how this works. If it's extremely important, even in the algorithm for podcasting. That's how people
Yeah.
find you, by getting good reviews.
Well, and you know, I want people to find the show not because I want to be found, but I believe in what we're doing and I want to help more people. And they won't know about it unless it's reviewed, right? Because
Absolutely.
they're scanning so many different things. And by the way, nobody is going to type in the words, I wonder if there's a show called Cabinet Maker Profit System. Let's go look. But they do put, I'm a cabinet maker. What are the shows? I need cabinetry profits. And then when they get there, they should go, oh my gosh, look at the reviews here. There must be something. They don't know there's a whole community of really neat people here. All
Exactly.
they can do at the beginning is go, well, it's got good reviews. Let me give it a try.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, folks, you just heard it here. So Phil says, please leave a review for Cabinet Maker Profit System. Specifically, look for the Phil episode.
Exactly. If you found any value in this conversation or anything that Dom has ever done, leave him a Google review, 5 stars. Okay.
Five,
I'm saying this.
minimum
Five.
five. Yeah. Yeah. Minimum five. Excellent. Well, Phil, thank you. I appreciate your wisdom and your insight. I'm sure that helped a lot of people. Even if it just put that bug in their ear, popped a hot marble in their ear and let it roll around in their brain, then we've started the thought process in their head. Thanks, Phil. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too, man. See
Thanks.
ya.
Bye bye. Well, my friends, what did you learn from Mr. Phil Risher? Gee, I learned a lot from Mr. Phil Risher. And what can you put in place? Remember, earlier I said the when is up to you. On this show, I'm going to show you the how. I'm going to show you the where. I'm going to give you the short tips, the tricks, the shortcuts, all of those things, the simple systems. But you still have to provide the when, right? You've got to do it. I'm going to talk to you about somebody who did it. Rod sent in this action plan after listening to one of the episodes, which is great. And Rod is one of us. He's a cabinet maker. And look, he actually just sent me a picture. Now, it's not a picture of him having a cup of coffee at a coffee shop doing his work, which, as I've said before, guys, and please don't forget, send me a picture of yourself at a coffee shop working on your plan, just a selfie, and I will buy your coffee. I can't be more humble than that. Like, I actually want to buy your coffee because I want you doing the work, the smart work. I'll pay for your coffee by sending you a $5 Amazon gift card. That should buy you half a small coffee at Starbucks. but I'm trying, right? Anyways, Rod did this. So the reason that you would immediately know that this is a woodworker because it's graph paper. It's written in pencil. It's written with engineers printing. It's extremely neat. Like there's no way you can't read it. There's one word I can't read, but I think it's because I don't understand who he's paying in this particular case. Now, his is very specific and personal. So I can't read it all, but I do want to let you know the actions that some of your peers, some other people in the industry are taking after or during listening to the podcast. Okay. So this is Rod's testimonial about, what he's doing based on what he's heard here. So what I've got in front of me is a lined graph sheet. He's got all the construction projects listed on the left-hand side. The Kirkman Project, Kane, Branch, 19th Street, Smith. Who doesn't have a Smith job? Potomac, Baco Colton, RM Finish, Charles Eck. Like he's got them all listed here, right? And then underneath each one, he's got a couple of action items 1, 2, 3, 4. But what I really like is next to that, he's got who on his team, and I'm not going to say these names, is responsible for that thing. So he's got, for instance, under one of these projects, it says set the finishes. And then next to that is brackets somebody's name. And then he's got a to-do list for two different people. Let's just pull this onto my screen so I can see it a bit better. He's got somebody on his team. I'm not going to say her real name, just say it's Bethany. Bethany has to set up liens for 4 different companies. Ouch. One of them, I can tell by the name, is a commercial project. And so we already know that Rod has some problems with the ideal client. He's got 4 jobs pending that are 4 jobs in process that he has liens on. Rod, my heart goes out to you, bud. What it actually means is somewhere back in the process, we have a marketing problem that looks like a customer problem. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? So short term, that doesn't help you at all. You're like, Rod's listening. Thanks, Rubino. That didn't help. But long term, future Rod is like, I got to go fix my marketing problem. I need intentional marketing so that I don't get clients who end up getting liens put on their property. Anyways, I'm reading too much into this, but it's kind of what I do. Here's what he's got under Bethany: set up liens for these companies, projects. I'm sorry. Recall in permit inspections for 19th Street. And next to that in brackets, it says this: the wrong ones were called. Write up the fix list for each trade, then email out. Fill out paperwork for this company. Call in inspection for this particular home address and shear for the garage. Thursday, he's got an appointment with somebody. It's an Italian last name. I looked at that the first. I'm like, I think that's one of the people I know. It's one of my family. He needs to get a gas card for one of his people, review the bills, accurate trenching invoice. Like, he's got a lot he's doing here, but he's assigned them to, I'm going to say her name is Bethany. Next to that, he's got a section for himself. This is his Monday to-do list. Now, what an interesting testimonial to send me, but I'm more interested in the fact that Rod's taking action. He actually, you know what, I'm going to send him $5 anyway, because he still sent me something that he's taking action. So he deserves that. So Rod, watch your email. Here's what he has to do on Monday. Call back Alan, Piner Lodge material. Call Edgebander Semi to have tech come and fix the 1 millimeter roundover. How many of us haven't done that before, right? Review my personal bills and plan. Door list for so-and-so. Home address, send a reply email. It's going to be done in semi-gloss. Okay, there you go. Pay personal bill, common area, and wing A revisions. There you go. That's his list. It feels like a long list to me. I don't care. I don't say I don't care without respect. It's a long list, which is great. He knows the order of operations. As long as he's got a list, he's working to that list. Rod is a forward-facing business owner. He is shoulders back, chin up, deep breath. I'm going for it. This is what I'm going to do. I'm a businessman who happens to run a cabinet shop. I want you to be that too. I'm sure you are. I say that because I want to remind you that that's who you are. If you're listening to the show, folks, I already know you are. You are. You've got all the components. We're trying to put them in the right place, like a box of Lego. You get to make whatever you want. I'm trying to make it a successful, profitable business with you. Listen, I want to help. Talking to Phil today, I thought about how we could simplify and solve a common problem that we have in our industry. Well, the common problem here is that you hear a guy like Phil talk about how to get 5-star Google reviews. And the first thing you think is, how much is it? I can't afford that. And that's the wrong language. That is not the language that will drive you forward. So I know that you might find that a little bit abrasive for me to hear, to just tell you flat out that you're wrong, but I'm going to say it a little more gently. You are wrong. You're thinking about it wrong. I want you to change your thinking. Remember, this show is about the mindset of success. So instead of saying, how could I ever afford to pay somebody like Phil Risher? Why would I ever hire a recruiter? Why would I do a direct mail campaign? I don't want to do a Google ad campaign. It's going to cost me money. Okay, you can say those things, but all you're doing is putting up roadblocks in your mind. Remember all the energy I spent at the beginning of the show telling you the dad jokes? Those are specifically crafted on purpose to open up your mind to the possibilities. So instead, what I want you to do is change the way you're talking to yourself. Remember, I've said this before, and I hope you've heard me. What I say to myself when no one else is listening is what the world sees when everybody is watching. And the very simple change that I want you to make is to start your sentences with how can I or what if. So, how can I afford a guy like Phil? Or how can I afford a recruiter? How can I upgrade to another CNC? How can I never buy a CNC and outsource all my cutting to other shops so that I focus on what we're good at? Whatever your question is, I want you to start with how can I or what if. As soon as you do that, you create an open-ended question, and that open-ended question demands that your mind find solutions. When you start a sentence in the negative, like, I could never afford a Google Ads guy, why would I ever do that? You see, you're closing the boxes in your mind, and the spot welder comes out, and you shut it and you put it in the back of your brain. You have closed the opportunity. Open your mind to the opportunity. Shoulders back, chin up, take a deep breath. Ask yourself, how can I have an unlimited marketing budget? That is thinking the big things. How can I figure out how to make the world pay for the things I need? You and I, this show, I'm going to say this and you're going to know exactly what I mean. We don't talk about servant leadership here, but we're servant leaders. It's my job to steward the money and the projects that I get and make sure they're managed properly so other people are happy and fulfilled. My staff, my customers. Oh, I should probably add in there my family. My family. We do all this because it's some reason deep down, I got to take care of my family. So let's start our questions with how can I? Now, earlier I mentioned how can I have an unlimited marketing budget, which takes us back to what if I want to use the services of a guy named Phil? I'm not selling Phil's services, by the way. Don't ever use Phil. Let's put that on the table. Phil, if you're listening to this, sorry, but it's real. Don't ever use Dom. Don't ever use anybody, but open your mind up to the opportunities in front of you. How can I get what I want? That's okay. Maybe Phil's an answer. Maybe Dominic's team is an answer. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a CNC is the answer. Maybe having your own in-house draftsperson or a designer is the answer. Whatever your answer is your answer. None of us are going to change it. It's your situation. For those of you who do want an unlimited marketing budget, I have a solution for you. Remember, this part of the show is to simplify and solve a common problem for our industry. Our industry is this. Everybody wakes up in the morning, they jump in their truck, and they drive to the shop. They walk into the shop, the machines start humming, and we start getting to work. Some of you go to an install site, and that's fine too. But that's what all of us do. But the common problem that we've got is we're trying to grow. You're trying to solve that common problem by listening to this podcast or as a YouTube video, which is fantastic. Here's the tool I want if you want a simple system. I've got a free download for you because I created a system. It's called How to Have an Unlimited Budget for Growth. You might translate that to your question, which is, how can I have an unlimited budget for growth, Dom? Well, my answer is, here's how to have an unlimited budget for growth. Remember earlier I said, I'll provide the how, you provide the when. The when is up to you, my friend. And I'm happy. I'm here clapping on the sidelines. When you're ready, I'm going to hand off the baton. The baton is right here. The tool is called How to Have an Unlimited Budget for Growth. It is 5 pages long. Ugh. The first page is a cover page. The second page has like a half-page picture on it. The very top thing, the very first thing it says, under 3 minutes to read. Simple system. If you want this, just text me at 315-903-7853 and just say, hi, Dom. What are we going to say here? What's our code for this one? Unlimited marketing budget. Unlimited marketing budget. Just use speech to text and throw that in there, right? And the reason I'm not going to read it now is because there's a little bit of scripting and there's a graph and a chart in here. It'd take longer to explain than 3 minutes to read. Picture's worth 1,000 words, right? There's also a little story here about a friend of mine named Doug and how he listens to people in his family and what he does. And then there's a link to a very specific episode that we did a long time ago that is a training episode that shows you how to put this in place if you want to have an unlimited marketing budget. And so it's kind of a powerful tool, but it's also got some links to other things that you can go find. And they're just other free podcasts. So there's no cost there for you. So I want you to have that. Now, listen, this is the other thing that just occurred to me. I want to have an unlimited marketing budget, Dom, but I don't know how to afford it. So I need to solve that problem too. So just thinking this through, there's a tool that you hear me talk about all the time. Isn't that interesting? Why would that tool show up all the time on a business coach's podcast? A business coach who for years has been showing people how to turn around their companies. It's called the Go Back Report. It's called the Go Back Report because it is how you get the world to pay for what you need. The world will pay for your next designer. The world will pay for your foreman if you think you can't afford one. And the tool that you use for that is the Go Back Report. It's called the Go Back, to be honest, because it just kind of stuck. It's the 1 hour calculator. It's the 1 hour calculator that burns in your profits, your overheads, everything. Once you have the Go Back calculator filled in, the number that pops out the bottom gives you that shoulders back, chin up, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, confidence that you're charging the right rates. And if somebody comes back at you and says, you're too expensive, you say, I know, because we're really good, because we deliver projects on time, because we don't have go backs, because people love dealing with us, because most of our customers refer us to their moms and their mother-in-laws. So yes, you might find us expensive, but I think that that quality outweighs having to have your house ripped apart for 6 and 8 months when it could have been done in 6 weeks. How you like them apples? Shoulders back, chin up, in through your nose, out through your mouth, confidence. Breathe with confidence. So anyways, it's called, let's do two things. You can choose whichever one you want. If you've already got the Go Back Report, because I talk about it a lot here, a lot, then don't ask for that one, but you can ask for both. Just text me. You guys know the cell phone number. It's 315-903-7853. Now, listen, this is where I have to fall on the sword. We've had a massive problem inside my company where some of you have asked for things and have not received an answer back. That is 100% on me. I apologize. It's on me because I wasn't watching what needed to be watched. So there have been some team changes at my company. I think you understand what that means. We're big boys. There have been some team changes at my company because I tried to get that fixed internally. It was not getting fixed. And as I managed it, it became clear that we had a problem with commitment, not capability. They were capable of doing it, but they weren't committed to doing it. So there were inconsistencies. What that meant is that some of you out there are rolling your eyes right now saying, Rubino, I already asked for the Go Back Report and I never got it. I asked for it back in October. I asked for it in November. I asked for it in January. I still didn't get it. Dominic Rubino, I think you are a clown and a liar. And guys, I take that personally. I apologize. I am not a clown. I'm not a liar. Well, I do like to have fun, but I'm not a liar. I hate that I left you hanging. And I apologize if I haven't apologized to you already. I want to. So if you send that text message, we now have a new system, a new person in place. There's a lot of eyes on that particular piece of our business because it's clear that I can't handle it all on my own. The volume of requests coming in is too high. Actually, 2024 has been a bonkers year. I don't know what's in the water, but things have changed in 2024. Everybody is on a growth plan and they're looking for answers, which is nice. I have to now do my part and fulfill my promises. So again, if I haven't spoken to you one-on-one to apologize, I want to. And I apologize if I'm just trying to be as genuine as I can. So I apologize for that. So send, the text 315-903-7853. Say thanks to Phil Risher for being on the show. But if you want an unlimited marketing budget, then text me the words unlimited marketing budget. And if you don't have the Go Back Report, text me the words Go Back Report, and then I'll send those to you. Thank you very much for listening. Again, this podcast, this YouTube video is just until you and I could have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine across the table from each other one day. And I look forward to that. Until then, we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks, everybody.